Well, hello, everyone. We have a special guest today. Julie Collins is here, and I want to just introduce her because she is a very enthusiastic person that actually came to my summit. She had great success with keto. She's spreading it all over the place. So welcome, Julie. How you doing?
Great.
So, Julie, can you just briefly tell us a little bit in a thumbnail sketch about your story with keto?
Yes. So in the big picture, I had to realize that I was, and had to admit that I'm a sugar addict, a carb addict. And for years, I kind of knew it because I already am in a recovery program with addiction issues. And, couldn't really understand how I could have such success with my alcoholism and recovery from alcoholism. And I work a 12-step program and I'm in a fellowship. And, normally that's all anonymous, but I really have to bring it up because it really applies to the success I've had with keto. And there's another doctor, you just did a video recently, Dr. Berg, on addiction and carb addiction. And there's another guy, Dr. Robert Siwis, that I've been listening to, and he's a carb addiction guy, and he speaks my language. And the irony is, a year ago, I kind of blindly took step one and said, I'm addicted to sugar. I know that. How do you apply the stuff I've learned to this sugar thing that's in our face on television? How do I do it? And I did it one step at a time, one thing at a time. There's a level of pain when you're taking away the one thing that's given you power. And, they talk about a higher power. Well, food was my higher power. Alcohol was my higher power. And so how do we find bridges and replace all that? And by educating myself, by watching your videos, first of all, I listened to audiobooks. Keto Clarity is one that kind of led me to you. And just starting to slowly educate myself. And everyone says, well, how do you keep it simple? How do you keep this simple when in schools we're being taught the old food pyramid? You go to your doctor, he tells you to do low fat. You're pre-diabetic, but lose weight, but do low fat. It's so frustrating and it's so easy to give up. But because of the stuff I had learned in my 12-step program, I knew to take it slow one day at a time and just start following the little signs. And I would listen with my headphones on because my husband would be like, oh my God, turn those podcasts off. And I would listen with my headphones to 2 or 3 of your videos a day. After your summit, I found other people to listen to, and I love in your videos that you tell people, listen to other people, but then you think, who do you trust and who do you listen to? That's why the summit was so helpful, because I kind of trust the speakers that you got. I'll look at other summit sheets from other summits throughout the country, and I'll look at names and I'll look them up on YouTube, and there's just so many of you out there that are changing the world. And the saddest thing for me is it's kind of like I quit smoking a year and a half ago also. I put 20 pounds on when I did that, but I had used the 12 steps for my smoking. Wow. And that's when I said, oh, this is working for cigarettes. I'm powerless over cigarettes.
Interesting.
I'm powerless over sugar. And I just started applying that.
Interesting.
And
what happened
over it is so liberating.
Well, that's great. What happened?
Willpower.
Wow. When you actually, let's say you go to a meeting, they have a lot of carbs there, right? I mean, they're actually sugar.
Like, I'm getting a reputation for being the very annoying person.
Okay.
We grow a lot of our own food, and I would bring a lot of that like last summer. And as I was dropping all this weight, I'm also trying to learn how to talk to women about weight. And you're the one that opened that door with Get Healthy First.
Mm-hmm.
Weight. And it made me see how toxic and unhealthy my thinking is. Mm-hmm. And this has been really difficult because everyone, when they see me, says, Julie, you're so skinny. Oh, you look so good. And that was great in summer when I first was reaching my goals and lost my 50 pounds. Now, 6 months later, it's getting old. And frankly, it's kind of rude. And it's made me see that I did that to people as well. Mm-hmm. But what do you say to an addict when they come back in the room and put the weight back on? Oh, girl, you put all your weight back on.
Yeah, it's very
shift how we talk to people.
I know. It's when you how much did you weigh at your peak weight?
185.
Okay.
And I'm very small boned. I had prediabetes. I was at 117, with my fasting glucose.
Oh, okay. Fasting glucose. Okay.
I had high blood pressure. I had chronic snoring, chronic heartburn, which your apple cider vinegar cured it. Tums should be outlawed. I was addicted to that, and that was just your apple cider. It's on my counter over there. Apple cider vinegar has changed my life. Like, I have not had heartburn since I started that.
Wow.
A year and a half ago. That's when I really started putting trust in your videos. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, because how do you trust something when you have doctors telling you don't do that, it's going to hurt you, it's going to kill you? So I kind of did the A1 experiment? In Keto Clarity, he talks about the A1C, the experiment where you experiment on yourself. And I just kind of did the nasty plunge and said, the fries and the burgers were going to kill me. When people say keto is going to kill you as they're eating their fries and eating their sundaes, why not try this? And as everything started to work, my husband, I don't snore anymore. And that was 3 weeks into keto.
That can get very irritating if you're married and your spouse is snoring all. It's like, I have probably 3.5 million subscribers, right? And I also have 300,000 people on the closed Facebook group. And so I have a chance to, that other people don't have a chance to, not to experiment with different theories, but test different theories out. So I'm constantly finding out, oh, go ahead and try this, see how this worked. Try this, and then getting lots of feedback. If I send out a questionnaire, within 1 hour, I can get 900 responses back, and I can quickly find out, like, oh, that was a terrible idea, or that's like brilliant. I'm gonna do a video on that to focus on that. So that's really what I do. I just get so much feedback. I basically
I'm no longer pre-diabetic. So anyone that says that can't work, and he told me for 3 years, you're pre-diabetic, lose weight, blah, blah, blah. And I would do it. I had done Sugar Busters years ago. Did you ever read that book?
Yes, I did.
Sugar Busters. And it didn't work. I was eating Triscuits. I was eating, and for me, sugar is a trigger. I can't gargle with tequila. I can't, some of my friends now that say, you've lost all your weight, can't you have a cookie now? And I tell them, I can't gargle with vodka. I have to treat sugar like that. And on your Facebook page, a lot of people say there's all this cheating talk. And not everyone's a carbaholic. I am. So if you're doing keto and you're a carbaholic, my recommendation is the only way is abstinence.
Yeah, because you can't even do the keto treats and all that, because it's just going to open up a door for, you're fine. All of a sudden you start doing that, and then it leads to something else. The next thing you know, off your program.
I did do those for a while, and that kind of helped me. The irony now is it doesn't trigger the dopamine because you're not eating the sugar. I don't even want them.
Oh, great.
Like, I've got cupboard full of bars and all. I want prime rib. I want steak. I want meat. I have been leaning a little bit more towards carnivore lately, like 2 to 3 days a week, because I have some digestive issues when I do too much.
Yeah.
And but I still need my vegetables, and I do feel better when I eat the vegetables. Yet my constipation when I'm doing carnivore is gone.
Wow.
I eat a lot of leafy greens and cruciferous vegetables, and I'll get backed up. I do a day of just meat and dairy, and then those days, a 12 to 14 ounce ribeye. I know that that's against some of your thinking, but for me, a couple days a week, I can work out. I'm jogging. My whole life, I've never been able to run or jog, and I can jog now.
That's amazing.
It's just, I just wish the food industry and the pharmaceutical industry, and my husband said, TV is wrecked for you. And I said, why? And he said, because all you do is get mad at it during the commercials. Ozempic, all these, insulin resistance is a problem. Take this. And I am so sad for people.
Did you see the latest disease out there they just came up with? I guess it's it's probably a couple years old, but it's called binge eating disorder, BED. And this is now like a psychiatric, they take this normal behavior of binging and snacking, and they just made it a disease. They have a drug for it, and serious side effects. I'm talking like death, stroke, heart problems. If you actually are into some fad diets like cutting out food groups, you know.
Yeah.
And also, if you can't go for a few hours without eating and snacking, if you eat when you're not hungry, if you eat alone, like I did a video on it. I don't know if I released it yet.
Snacking because of you.
What's that?
I got rid of my snacking because of you. I do puzzles now if I'm like wanting to snack.
That's good. The snacking is a killer.
It is.
Yeah, at the next summit that I do, which is going to be at the end of August, I definitely am going to be talking about that a lot. We have some really interesting speakers coming this time. I really wanted speakers that are going to give practical information that is not too technical yet very credible. So I really spent some time to figure out who we're inviting, and I have just over-the-top speakers. So you're in for a treat.
I love it that you didn't overdo it with the vendors. And one thing I would suggest to people when they go to summits or whatever is that you can't rely on if it says keto.
Right.
That you really have to learn what your body can tolerate and what ingredients it can have. Some people can say, oh, I've tested my glucose and it doesn't knock me out of ketosis. I can have this. Don't follow the pack on that. You've got to learn what your body can tolerate, because not everybody, some of these my son is doing keto now. I won't tell his story online. That wouldn't be fair to him. And I just, attraction rather than promotion, a year of them all coming here for holidays, and I would have all the keto stuff and they would avoid it. And then after Christmas, after they've set the example for a year, finally in January, my son said, hey mom, I need help. I need to do keto. He's 28. Wow. And got above 260, 70 pounds, had some blood work that I won't put him out there, but you know, he has now lost 30 pounds.
Wow.
And I went and spent a weekend with him because he's got a baby due April 4th.
Oh, wow. Exciting.
And I've been talking to him a lot about children and sugar, and that yes. I've kind of made an amends to him that part of the reason his metabolism is broken at such a young age, younger than mine showed up, is because of the way I fed him. So I can't wait to make grilled cheese chaffles for my grandchildren.
Yeah, it's so great because we have my granddaughter is living with us right now, and so I mean, you can imagine this is one keto sugar-free baby. Everything that goes in her mouth is like high quality, and you can just see it. Like, I should probably do some videos on her bone structure, her development, her coordination. She's calm. She's like the perfect kid. Immune system is great.
One thing I'd love to say, and I'm throwing myself out there. I really don't care, because if it helps someone, I was diagnosed bipolar. Okay. And this was after a relapse from alcohol that I got that diagnosis. I think I've had those brain issues my whole life, but I think I've been addicted to sugar since I could ride my bike to 7-Eleven. And, alcoholic since I first drank. I mean, my brain likes that stuff, both of them. And I think I was misdiagnosed. I think I had ups and downs and sleep issues because of carb addiction and carb toxicity.
Wow.
And so there's Dr. Peter Breggins. Have you heard of him?
Yes.
And I started, when you kept telling us in your videos, do your research. I started, my doctor, when he said, you're no longer pre-diabetic after I'd been on keto 3 months, but your cholesterol is high, maybe you might need some statins. But I had listened to Cholesterol Clarity, and I had listened to you and learned how to start talking to him. And I had listened to Dr. Peter Breggins. And I said, give me 6 months. Can we try getting me off of Seroquel with your guidance in case I go into a deep, dark depression? Because the Seroquel can raise your cholesterol, and it can also cause some of the other things. Can we wean it off and see if this healthy fat in my brain and the no longer having sugars brings that cholesterol down? So after your summit, I got my blood tested. Mm-hmm. And when I went in, I said, can you test for large particles? And all of this is from you and some of the speakers you had, Dr. Scher and Nally, or not Nally, who was Ivor Cummings.
Ivor Cummings.
Well, I knew how to talk to the doctor. And I said, will you test for large and small particles? And this is after getting off Seroquel and all that. And the nurse said, we don't do that. And I said, well, I'll pay out of pocket. And I said, but I would like you to test for large particles. I didn't really even know what I was talking about. Anyway, it came back, my ratio had been 4.7. My ratio is now 3.4
Wow.
after the summit. And I got an email, not even from the doctor, saying you're fine.
Wow. So
And,
just for those.
and I haven't been on Xanax
Wow.
or Seroquel in 9 months. I go to bed at 10 p.m. I can't stay awake past that. I am up at 6 a.m. Like my body just wakes up.
That's
My
fantastic.
entire life, going back to when I was 12 and the sugar addiction, I've never slept in my life.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've never not suffered from this. It was like pain. And it's gone. Like I feel better than I did in my 20s. So
you definitely are very up-tone. You're way up there. So that's awesome. For those of you that are listening or are curious about the particle and cholesterol, let me just explain.
yes.
LDL is considered the bad cholesterol, but there's two types of LDL. There is the large, buoyant, like you can imagine they're like big fluffy things, and then there's small, dense LDL. Okay, so these small dents can penetrate through the wall of the artery and create damage. The big ones can't. So if you have high LDL and you get your a deeper cholesterol test and it measures like those differentiating between the two, you're gonna if you're on keto, you're gonna find that you're gonna have high levels of the large buoyant and very small levels of the small dents. So Karen, my wife, I had her get tested, and her LDL was very high. So, but if you looked at it deeper, it was the large buoyant, and it wasn't the small. The small was normal.
It's almost like he knew.
What's that?
It's almost like he knew. They know that even if your LDL is high, if those other numbers. It was just interesting that.
Yeah, it's kind of like an advanced test that they don't talk about. There's not a lot of doctors that know about it yet.
But if they don't trust their patients, like if someone doesn't stick with it.
Well, here's the thing. They're taught in school to do a certain way, and there's so many things that conflict with that. They just reject it. They're not very open-minded all the time, and so they have a certain way of doing this. And so anything that conflicts makes them wrong. But there's certain doctors that are like, okay, all right, let me learn about it. But there's quite a few that are just not open to new things, unfortunately, until the entire profession is changed around, which is not going to happen very soon.
I have my year follow-up in 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. Wow. It's going to be interesting. Well, I'm excited to have you at this year's summit. We're going to have even more people, even better speakers. And I want to thank you for your time. I just wanted to hear about your story and also the amazing kind of tie-in with the whole recovery program that you've been through, and you're using that as a tool now for carbs, because it really, you need to.
There might be people that say, well, how do I, if I'm not an alcoholic, how do I get into those meetings? And there are no 12-step meetings but there are open 12-step meetings of any addiction. You could even go to Al-Anon to an open meeting. And there's a book called The 12 Steps for Anyone Who Wants Them.
Oh,
you
wow.
can get it on Amazon. You can get it online. You can apply the 12 steps to any addiction.
Wow.
And if you find one safe friend that's doing the same thing you are, the philosophy in the 12-step world is it's one person sharing their experience, strength, and hope with another person with the same issue. And it's that communicating and admitting that you're powerless that makes you powerful. It makes you, that's what becomes the energy. And so I tell people, try to find a support system of some kind and then watch as many Dr. Berg videos as you can. My favorite book of yours, it's your smallest one, is this one.
Oh yeah, that's a very short one, but a lot of pictures, simple but important. So yeah, that's a real popular one.
It's because some people don't want to watch videos, but
no.
Gosh, Dr. Berg, keep doing what you're doing. And I know that like they still sell cigarettes at gas stations, so it's going to be a long time till the commercials shift from Ozempic to Dr. Berg's electrolyte powder.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying is that all of you in that world, keep doing what you're doing because you are saving lives. And I know that sounds dramatic, but high blood pressure, prediabetes, depression, my arms were falling asleep at night. I was heading to more and more medications and slow death. I know that sounds dramatic, but I'm going to get to play with my grandkid now.
Absolutely. Well, that's so awesome. And thanks for your feedback and your
All right,
sharing and your honesty. Well, I like that. So, especially since you're, everything you're saying is it makes total sense. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll see you at your summit. Go to Dr. Berg's summit.
All right. Awesome.